All right, let's talk about Sam Howell, who had some high highs this season. I thought at times had some good moments this season, specifically against Philadelphia, which maybe isn't as impressive as we thought it was when it happened with how their defense is playing now. But, as a whole, there were some good moments for Howell, but it has been announced that he will not be the starter for the last two games. So let's talk about what went wrong here, as back-to-back weeks, Jacoby Brissett has pretty heavily outplayed Howell once Brissett comes in relief. First, it's stuff like this. I think one of Howell's biggest issues is his reliance on his legs and not pushing the ball down the field. You saw a lot of teams would play man coverage just as a 3rd down and 8 situation. And you're going to see Sam Howell take the snap. He looks down the field, and he's not crazy about what he sees. And again, it is possible that sometimes, the receiving core might have just legitimately gotten more open when Brissett was out there. But I think it's more of a Brissett is willing to give his players a chance. A lot of one-on-one matchups down the field. Howell doesn't want to do that. Instead, he is going to scramble outside the pocket, which at this point, there's not a lot you can do. This is kind of a dead play, so it's already not looking great. There's pressure in your face, and again, it's 3rd and 8, so he doesn't want to just give up on the play, but he probably should, because he tries to throw it, and at that point, it was just too late. The ball gets batted up. Could have been a turnover right there. I'm not sure if it was a fumble or interception. Either way, they ended up being all right there. But as a whole, it's just a mistake there at the end by Howell, and you can't turn bad plays into worse plays, right? You have to make sure that when a play is bad, it just stays bad and doesn't get worse, and Howell, he made a mistake there. And honestly, a play like this is, to me, the perfect play to showcase of why things just haven't been working these past few weeks for Howell. Something like this, 3rd down and 7, so you see the concept on your screen, and, one of these routes can get open, right? The one that's going eventually towards the sideline. The other 2 routes can push Jets players further deep. Maybe there's a window there. Ideally, you would like to throw to one of the deeper routes, right? Always nice to get the ball further down the field, but, throwing short of the sticks on 3rd and 7 isn't a terrible move if you have a chance of picking up the first down. Watch as when Howell takes the snap, he's going to read this play and pretty clearly that's the route he should probably throw to right here. Would it be a for sure completion? No, of course not. But is that what he should probably be doing? Yeah, I think it is. Also, I said completion. I meant conversion, obviously. It should be a completion, but can it be a conversion? I don't know. I really don't. But if you are going to have a chance, you probably need to throw it there right now. That's what I would assume. Instead, watch how Howell decides to look elsewhere. He tries to scramble and eventually is going to be forced to just throw the football away on that play because he waited too long and didn't get through his progressions quickly enough, which is just one of the issues with Howell. Listen, his legs were a big part of what he was able to do in college and have success in college, and it's part of why he got drafted at all, was because he had that ability. But like this one's another one where it's, again, basically the exact same situation, 3rd down and 10, this time later in the game. So you think that you would have, seen something on a Surface Pro, right? Said, oh, I should have thrown it there earlier. Let me pay more attention. Howell is going to take the snap, and this time he is looking over there. He's ready. He's to make this throw. So at this point, again, if it's thrown here, are you getting the conversion? I don't know. It might be tough. It's 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 7. So, and, the Jets are maybe more aware of this because they had this situation happen earlier. They have Surface Pros too, right? Even though the ball didn't go there. But watch Howell instead scramble around and then make the throw, which gave the Jets time to come back and make a tackle. They were only 2 yards short. I do wonder if Howell stays in the pocket and times that one perfectly. Do they get a conversion on that one? I don't know. It's impossible to say, obviously, but I think they would have had a better chance. And again, it just kind of goes to show part of the difference between someone like Brissett, who's a veteran and been in the league for a minute now, who knows, got to get rid of the football quickly, and Howell, who maybe will make some mistakes. Like, something like this is another example. We're like, listen, what's the kind of the one thing we say about the Washington offense? We say, well, they have receivers, right? And I'm not saying they're Cincinnati, but they're good receivers. They are. They have good receivers. So in a situation like this, it's going to be a, cover one play, single safety deep, one-on-one matchups across the board. Ideally, you want to find your best matchup and hope that that player wins. If it doesn't, then you might be in trouble. But that's what you want to do. Find your best matchup pre-snap. Usually, it's going to be, ideally, your best receiver running a go route on the outside. Instead, watch how Howell's going to take the snap pretty immediately, scramble outside the pocket, and then decides to throw it to, an underneath route that was not going to go for a ton of yards. It was his halfback route, and he also didn't throw a catchable ball on top of it. That's not how you want that play to go. As a Commanders fan, as a Commanders coach, that's not what you want Howell to be doing there. You want him to be finding a better matchup, giving a player a chance. That's all you can do as a quarterback. You can't, guarantee anything works out, but you want to give a player a chance, and he just didn't on that play. Also heading over here, so this is going to be a 2nd down and 10 situation. It's just an underneath route, and this is what might be the last pass he ever throws as a starting quarterback. As unfortunate as it sounds, that's just the reality of the situation. It's going to be, again, simple route. Just, zone coverage, throw it underneath the zone coverage. Howell is going to take the snap. He looks elsewhere first, but then says, all right, well, let's look at the check down on this play. And you can see why he wants to make this throw. Is it a bit risky at this point? Yeah, it is. It is. And you could argue, is it worth throwing that contested of a pass for just like the potential of a 5-yard gain? But again, you start to get into certain points where if you're not willing to throw this pass, which passes are you willing to throw? Sometimes you have to make a bit of a tougher pass. So I'm not that mad at the decision, and it is worth mentioning, despite the fact that this is, a check down route, quote unquote, to a halfback, the halfback on this play is Curtis Samuel, who's a good receiver. So it's, he was lined up as a halfback on this play, but, Curtis Samuel on a linebacker, it's a mismatch. I think that's why Howell wants to make this throw. But when he makes the throw, Samuel slips, and that results in an interception. I have a hard time putting that one on Sam Howell, but I think at this point, they kind of just said, you know what, enough is enough. That might not be your fault, but enough of the other stuff was. Let's just see what we have in Brissett. Sam Howell's other interception wasn't his fault either. It was just a batted pass. So I know the 1.4 passer rating in this game is brutal. A little bit misleading with the interceptions. That being said, 56 yards on 22 attempts. I mean, usually it's a big deal when a quarterback has, less than 5 yards per attempt. That's like a really bad day. Sam Howell had half of that. He had 2.54 yards per attempt in this game. So, and again, yards per attempt, it's a team stat, right? But when the team stats are a lot better when a different guy is at quarterback, that's when you kind of look at this and say, okay, maybe it's probably a quarterback thing. They'll see what they have in Brissett. And Brissett's a good quarterback. Like, Brissett, I don't know really why Washington decided to go with Howell over Brissett. I think they just wanted to see what they have in him. Maybe they wanted a better draft pick. I don't know. And if that's the case, mission accomplished, certainly. But there are, I do find it to be just an interesting story. And, for Sam Howell, listen, was not the worst attempt. It was not the worst flyer to take on a quarterback. He showed that he belongs in the NFL, and he'll be in the NFL for a while, I think, just probably not as a starter. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.